afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and respected delegates. As we continue to strengthen menstrual health initiatives, sustainability plays a vital role in protecting both our bodies and our planet. This session brings focus to the future where menstrual hygiene choices are both safe and environmentally responsible. And now we begin with the breakaway session on the topic eco friendly menstrual hygiene products and sustainable waste management solutions. As we honored to welcome our esteemed thought leaders on this panel. Panel had Miss Nisha Belor, the founder and partner of Riva Econauts, Nari Yari, and Purpose Driven Menstrual Health Broad working to make sustainable period products accessible and affordable. She has been leading powerful awareness initiatives to break taboos and ensure every woman can manage her menstrual hygiene with dignity and eco-friendly choices. And the next panelist is Mrs. Swati Shamsundar Bedekar, trustee at Vatsalya Foundation and dedicated her work to creating affordable and biodegradable sanitary products. Her efforts have empowered women and girls across India and developing countries by providing safe menstrual solutions and driving strong health education initiatives. Ms. Anita Goyal, the menstrual health advocate and founder of the Eco Mom and Jaipur Mommies Sustainable Community, she actively promotes conscious menstrual lifestyle and has supported thousands of women in choosing sustainable hygiene practices, building a healthier community and environment. Dr. Lakshmi Murthy, the co-founder and president at Jatan Sansthan and pioneering voice in sustainable menstrual management for over 4 decades. Her extensive research and innovations, including low-cost sanitary products and behavior change models, have transformed menstrual access in rural India and beyond. A warm applause for all our change makers. Can we have a big round of applause for all our change makers, please? Now we look forward to having innovative approaches that make ensure menstrual care is healthier for women and healthier for the environment. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And it's good to see a room full of people. We were wondering whether we were going to talk to empty chairs, but it's nice to see faces and interested people in a topic of reusable and eco-friendly solutions. We've had a long session, and I would like to take you to an imaginary world or a nice, quiet, this where you can imagine an everyday scenario in India. It's morning, and where millions of women are preparing for the day, and a quiet tide is slowly building up, which most of us don't notice. Each woman sends about, each day we send about 33 million pads out into the landfills, which is about 12.3 billion in a year. And what startled me into taking Nari Yari as an enterprise forward was that these pads will remain in the landfills for 6 generations. They're not going anywhere. I'm talking about the disposable pads. And with that insight, we're going to listen to wonderful leaders here who have worked for this cause on creating sustainable solutions. And we also have Ms. Swati, who is going to talk about what do we do with the single-use napkins, how do we dispose it off responsibly. The idea is to keep these the landfills away, the pads away from the landfills, right? Whether you encourage girls and women to switch to reusables, and we all know that it is not possible immediately. So we need to know what do we do with the single-use napkin. So today we have a diverse thought and diverse leaders sitting here who are going to share their experiences. Before that, I will just quickly introduce each one of them a little more in detail so that the audience know who they're listening to and the work that has gone into why they're sitting here today. We don't have Karthik. He was in Africa for a session and he missed a flight, so we're not going to have him here at the panel, which gives all of us a little more time to talk. So I'd like to introduce Ms. Swati Bedekar. She's a renowned science educator and social innovator from Vadodara, Gujarat, recognized for her pioneering work in menstrual hygiene management and women's empowerment. Founder of the Vatsalya Foundation, she launched the groundbreaking Sakhi project, establishing over 1,100 low-cost organic sanitary pad manufacturing units that provide crucial menstrual hygiene solutions, livelihood opportunities for underprivileged women across India in several developing countries. She has also developed the eco-friendly terracotta incinerator, which you can see here, and she will probably talk about it. She decided to bring the product over here so that you can see, and she didn't want to put up a slide. So you can actually come and have a look at it. She has also developed the eco-friendly, the Ashudhi Nashak for safe napkin disposal in thousands of schools and villages. Her movement, the Hygiene Bucket Challenge, has reached over 5 lakh beneficiaries with awareness workshops, an advocate for hands-on science education. She's designed educational kits, authored science books, and developed interactive learning parks and resources for schools nationwide. Her diverse work has earned several national and international honors, and she features in global media. Welcome, ma'am. And we're looking forward to listening to you. The next lady we have here is Dr. Lakshmi Murthy, somebody who we all look up to. I had met her in 2019 and a very well-respected lady in this field. She's a distinguished design professional from National Institute of Design and a social innovator with a master's from NID and a PhD from IIT Mumbai. Based in Udaipur, Rajasthan for 40 years, she has pioneered reproductive health communication and sustainable menstrual management, notably inventing the reusable Uga cloth pads, kept open source in copyleft space. I think one of the first who doesn't mind sharing the design across and makes it people-centric. I think we've known her for that, and I think, thank you, ma'am, for that initiative. As a co-founder and president of Jatan Sansthan, she has led impactful grassroots programs across rural India, focusing on menstrual hygiene for non-literate communities. And Dr. Lakshmi has received numerous awards, including the 2025 Pride of NID Distinguished Alumni Award, reflecting her lifelong dedication to ecological design and women's health empowerment. Welcome, Dr. Lakshmi. The third panelist we have is somebody very different and actually the bridge between the work that we do and the change that we would like to see. We have Anita Goyal, who's a sustainable lifestyle coach and a menstrual health advocate known as the Eco Mom. I love that name, Anita. She founded Jaipur Mommies, a thriving all-women community of over 1,000 members that promotes sustainable living, conscious parenting, and eco-friendly menstrual practices. Through workshops and talks, Anita empowers women to adopt eco-conscious habits and mindful lifestyle changes. She also leads Nature Eco India, a brand specializing in artistic, sustainable gifting solutions, driving the message that small, consistent actions can create lasting, positive impact for the planet and communities. And I am Nisha Bellare, founder of Nariyari. We are into the reusable menstrual cups business. And I would like to use the word business because I think we've done a lot of free distribution and charity for the last 6-7 years. But I would like to believe that people, planet, and profit can thrive together if we have to sustain the business and if we can reach the people who actually need the product. So people, profit, and product is absolutely a must. We are done with charities. So I proudly say that, yes, I am into the business of menstrual hygiene products, and I hope we have some leeway into getting market access so that all of us can have a sustainable business. Sure, please.
It's high time that Indian families start keeping money aside for a woman's menstrual health. So, business is a must.
It is. It is. No. Otherwise, we don't sustain, and then businesses just die down. So, it is important. Ms. Bedekar, for you, the next question. Tell us a little about your end-to-end solution. You have, designed the low-cost pad manufacturing machine. What is your end-to-end solution? You just don't give the machines, but you also have a solution to dispose it. We'd love to hear from you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Well, the reason I got into this was while teaching in the school. I was working in 554 tribal ashram schools of Gujarat and wanted to teach girls, and they were not there at all in the school. And the reason was very obvious. So I realized that giving awareness is not the only solution. You have to give affordable access to good sanitary products. tried everything. I personally respect a cloth pad a lot more because I grew up using that Dadi Ma ki malmal ki sari. And I had my own design. I used to put a small plastic layer in the uh, last layer. So you know that pad never leaked also. So, so since then I've been having that cloth pad design with me, and I disagree with the current designs that are going on. It should open up. It should be washed properly. Then that is a good pad. Okay. I also would like to acknowledge your work because men must know that they have 50% stake in women's health. So this conversation with men, I had to do all of it, frankly, because working in tribal area, uh, I wanted to design drudgery-free machines, and I wanted to kind of make napkins which were organic, which were made from this material. So we used, I'm a chemist myself, so we used banana stem fibers, which had the capacity of holding it. We used jatropha fibers, which have the capacity of holding the liquid. But we did not use them just like that. See, they are processed. They are made into a sheet, and that is when this kind of pad is made. If you just use the fibers, get them together, they are going to kind of, bunch up together, and then that will be a bad pad. So a lot of things have gone in. A lot of universities we have worked with. We have worked with IITs, we have worked with Deen Dayal University, GSFC University, a lot of them. Well, just thanks to all of them, we could produce this. Later on, you can tear this and see how we made sheets out of those materials. And the top layer, the biggest challenge was the resistant layer, which we could make out of cornstarch, or rather any kind of starch, and polylactic acid. So polylactic acid being a smaller molecule, it breaks very fast. Well, Abhi, if somebody who wants to ask about certifications and all, we'll talk later about it.
So how did you provide the end-to-end solution?
Okay, fine. We made women's groups. They made the pads. Each unit provided these pads to 25 villages around them, so the girls could come to school. And yeah, the biggest challenge in the rural area, what do you do with a used pad? Because the women said, the entire village hates us. We can't do this anymore, though we like it. So this was the biggest problem, not only in the rural areas, even in cities it was a problem. So yeah, then researched again. Like our team, I mean, me, my husband, and a few friends went around what could work in a rural area. I had heard of incinerators which were electric, but in rural area, for this kind of a thing, imagine 15 साल पहले, आज से 15-20 साल पहले, who would want to spend money and give electricity to burn a soil pad? So it had to be something. I always believed that local problems should have local solutions. So we created this. We call it Ashuddhinashak, something that has big, big holes. It can't store anything. Anaj nahi store karte, water nahi store kar sake. It doesn't look good. We have not painted it, nicely, that people would want to see it. It stands anywhere in a corner. Discarding your pad, putting in your pad is a 3 seconds task. So a girl's privacy and dignity, both are intact. She can walk away. In 24 hours, you can see a big hole. I have removed the lid. Looking into the rural, we have put that small tin diya. You can put your matchbox inside, so that you can just, some papers or burning splinters, you can insert inside. The flames rise up, and whatever is on the top, everything gets burned within minutes at a temperature less than 100 degrees. And see, usually polyethylene napkins, which my napkin is biodegradable, yes, but what about other napkins if they are being used? And then many people use the other napkins. Well, plastic usually melts at 350 degrees, but it starts flowing at 200 degrees. We thought of differently, because creating an incinerator which would give temperature more than 1300 degrees was kind of an impossible situation here. So we did something that let us do it at that temperature where plastic doesn't even start flowing. So agar disintegrate nahi hoga, then it won't send out the dioxins somebody had mentioned in earlier this year. So, well, it worked very well. It was examined by many. A lot of state governments had it, like, did their experiments with that in different schools and all. But for schoolgirls, it worked the best. We have this small size, there's a family size, and there's one institutional size. One incinerator in one school usually works well. And even if there are 50 pads inside, see, the whole total mass is not even 2 kgs. And when we surveyed, when people burn wood for cooking food, they usually, the daily burning of wood is 3 kgs. So, you're sending out just 250 grams of wood pulp. Earlier it was wood pulp, now we use something else in the pads. Plastic would remain there, which can be handpicked and sent into.
So what happens to the pad that is burnt? I mean, that residue, what happens? That
The residue is nothing but ash, pure ash, and it can be easily mixed with the soil. It's a very good manure for the. See, if it's ash
Sure.
of human mass and wood pulp, then it's carbon rich as well as phosphate rich.
Sure.
So.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Swati. So I liked your idea. So, when I first thought of the incinerator, I was thinking that, I was going to ask you that question very subtly, but you answered it, saying that we don't allow the plastic to burn. And then, but do women really then put their hand in it and take out the plastic and then put it out for recycling?
When the ash is removed,
Then they
usually
do.
the ash is, say this design is so cool that even if your Safai wala is using this or putting
wouldn't
the fire
mind
inside
picking it up.
No, it's always at a hand's distance. You don't have to touch, smell or see.
Anita, for you, in your experience, how can we bring men, families, and institutions into this conversation, because you work so closely with the mommies? So it's so important, and we heard them say that men and boys also need to be a part of this conversation. What, according to you?
So all the three stakeholders you're talking about majorly have men. So you'll talk about men. So how I work in my sessions is 3 aspects. Not passing an act in a legislative assembly, but doing what acting, ACT. So what is ACT for me is, one is awkwardness in the men for talking about menstruation. C is shifting to communication so that they can talk. And T is just let them talk.
Sure.
And for that, one, to remove the awkwardness, we have to bring the awareness. C, for communication, the communities are working to let them talk about with their parents, with their children, and in their institution as well. Ek example chota sa dungi. While taking a gender neutrality session last time in a corporate, I got the idea that fathers these days are too much inclined towards their daughter. Instead of their wives or spouses or mothers, they are too much inclined towards their daughters. So maybe we can create that emotional connect and ask them to think about their daughters and let them pain-free and talk about them. So they'll go. And they went with a question that they are silent or they are supportive. So yes, communication is the key. And let them thinking, developing the thought process. If their thought process will develop, they will shift. The community shift will happen. So yes, definitely it can happen. And now how it can happen? IEC, to them, by us, by doctors, by gynecologists, by awareness summits like these, or maybe the product makers. Like Whisper makes very good ads. They just go behind in the minds of people, so they can go behind in the minds of men as well, that they can talk. That's what I would like to say.
Thank you. Thank you, Anita. It's so important to bring in men into the conversations. And I would like to make one connect here about the men. The ones who developed Nari Ari was the design came from my father-in-law, who would have been 84 today. We lost him 3 years back. But he was the one who designed the menstrual cup. We have a factory, and I just said menstrual cups are so expensive, and they're imported from Europe and US, and they're so expensive. Why can't we make menstrual cups here? And he gave me 2 or 3 designs, and he says, try this out and let me know what it is. So men do play an important role. we as women should know how to get them involved. My husband is sitting here, he runs the factory, and we underwent 2 design iterations. So men are, the fact that we have so many men sitting here today, men are ready to listen, they are willing to stand by you. We have to just know what questions to ask and how we can get them to support us. Segment questions too. You know, we often talk about menstrual health from a hygiene lens, but many of us don't talk about the waste management, considering that the single-use napkin takes about 500 to 800 years to disintegrate, right? So we're looking at the challenges. I mean, it's very easy to say that you all have done so much of work, but I'm sure there were challenges as to, you know, what is it that you faced when you started this whole thing? So Dr. Lakshmi, the first question goes to you. Since you're a pioneer in introducing reusables, starting your work 25 years. Yes, the first slide for Dr. Lakshmi. Yeah, you can put that up. Since you're a pioneer in introducing reusables, starting your work 25 years ago, you can take us back to a little history and tell us about the challenges back then.
Okay, so just a little, I will just backtrack a little before that. For a long time, I had been feeling that a lot of the work that has been done by so many organizations and so many activists goes unrecorded. And this is a conversation I had been having with Tanya and Arundhati at MHI. And then, so we, you know, broke our heads together and we decided that let's do something about that. So the idea came about developing a book, and we thought let it be a graphic novel so younger people can read it and relate to it in a comic form. So we have brought out this book. It's just going into the press in another 10 days, and you all have a preview of that. And Tanya is sitting here, so a huge thank you for this. It's been a 2-year collaboration, and I wish Arundhati was here also. So it traces the menstrual product landscape in India and what social enterprises have done. So before I start, I just want to say sorry because we missed out a lot of people, and that is but natural because, you know, budgets are small, and I've had designers who have volunteered to work for this. So can we have quickly the next slide? Just do the next slide for me, thank you. Yeah, okay. So it's quickly the timeline. So if you really look at things that happened from 1970, largely it was a private business. There was no kind of, you know, open discussion, conversation. We all know all those things. So what happened was that from 1999, there was this conscious effort to include menstrual conversation in women's groups. So we can go to the next slide, because I have promised Nisha that I will not take too long. So if you look at reusables were always there. It was always here to stay. And there was, you know, sphagnum moss, there was leaves, there was animal hide. There were so many things that menstruators had been using. Now, early women menstruated less because they had many, many children. So as time moved on and we started having lesser and lesser children, we began to menstruate more and more. So that's the kind of flow. So the very first people in the space was Sahyog in 1999, and then followed by me, Vikalp Design. I used to have my own design studio, and we were all recipients of the MacArthur Fellowship back in 2000. So we worked on a number of things, and at that time, cloth was the only thing, and that is, so a lot of us worked with only cloth. So as we moved along, Goonj picked up in 2005, and then we had Ecofem later. Then we had Ugair again, which is, again, the pad that we produce at Jatan Sanstha. And then later at some point, we will talk also about why design needs to be modified, because I come from that background of design. And we have something called the timepiece or the lal kapda, which is very, very common in Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and Gujarat. And I don't know, Swati Ben will say what it is called there. Aap lal kapda hi shayad timepiece hi bolte ho, hum log wahan pe timepiece bolte hain. And the very first cup manufacturers in India, to my mind, is She Cup, which was 2010. And then, of course, Saukyam, and it went on like that. And then again, apologies to many groups that got left behind. So now I had to say this, and thank you very much for giving me this space to speak about this. But you had asked about challenges, which I will come to now, which is on the next slide. Very, very quickly, again, in the early years, environment was never the challenge. Cloth was never the challenge, because everybody was using these things. But what were the problems that we were having? One of the problems we were having was cloth of any color would be used. And typically, groups would use dark colored cloth. Now, dark colored cloth is not at all recommended because you need to see what you're discharging. So that, I think, was one of our biggest challenges. Superstition which still exists, which was, again, quite intense. Sometimes it is, I see it repeating itself even now as I speak. Menstrual cloth cannot be hung out in the open because men will go blind if they see it. There are many things like that, so I won't go into that. And I mean, you can read the rest on the slide, but in the later years, certainly environment raised its ugly head because a lot of products were no longer went back to earth. So they kind of stayed there and just lingered, and menstrual debris is a big it's a big issue that all of us are now talking about. And then if you really look at it, some challenges continue to be the same. And I just, there's of course, I spoke about design modification. And then sometimes I'm sad that all the superstition that we keep trying to break keeps coming back in a cycle. But I think that's how it is. Development work will always be 2 steps forward and 2 steps back, and then you take your 2 steps forward again. So I think that is kind of, what I will just say for the moment.
Thank you, Dr. Lakshmi. And my personal experience has been when I didn't start work 25 years back. I just started about 8 years back. And there has been a huge change from 8 years back to now. So when I used to talk about menstruation in schools, girls would put their heads down and giggle and laugh and, not even want to talk about it. But today they want to stand up and say, I have an answer to the question that you're saying. So I think we have come a long way in terms of awareness, in terms of reusable products. Because when I talked about menstrual cups in 2016, 17, a lot of them, educated friends of mine, said, insertable, no way. But today, when I talk about menstrual cup, they ask me, is it a large one, soft one, with stem, without stem? So there is been a huge learning curve from, I don't want to talk about it, to what can you offer me? So I think we all need to give a pat on our back that whatever work we are doing is working in the sustainability sector. And we just need to stay at it. Yes, please. If you had to tell policymakers one thing about menstrual waste, on how to deal with it or not generate it, what would it be?
I would, of course, say go for reusable. We've said this so many times, and we've never been able to get through. The menstrual health policies that have been made over the years gives equal importance. The document gives equal importance to all types of products. But why does reusable never come into the picture? It never comes into the picture because there's no money to be made in reusable. I mean, once you give, once you give a set of 6 pads like this, you're good for 2 years. So there's just no money to be made in that. So it's a very, very tricky thing to push at a national level. Some states tried that in Northeast. I know that in Arunachal Pradesh, there was one collector who made reusable the same pad that I'm talking about. Swati Ben and I were on that same project at one time. So at that point, he made the whole district. Meghalaya, Arunachal had this scheme where money would be transferred to the adolescent girl. So instead of that, he made all the girls get six of these pads. So you just need strong leadership on the top, and I really don't know how to crack that. So that is like, I don't even know if I have answered your question, but I will just say that just look at the menstrual debris, but at the same time, sometimes I feel that the chips packet, the gutka packet, there are so many things more that cause more of the debris, and then why are we singling out menstrual, this nice thing that with nice thing with gel. Of course, gel gives people lots of problems. That is completely another story for another panel. But sometimes I feel that, let's attack the chips packet. Let's attack, gutka packets. Gutka is like, my goodness, the sachet packets are so difficult to aggregate. And sometimes I think they cause the larger problem. So if I look at it from the point of view of women's rights, then I think, all products should be given equal importance. I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, you are, and one of the you are absolutely. It's a problem, and it's an open-ended question. It's an open-ended question, Dr. Lakshmi, and I'm hoping that we can find answers. But I heard Tanya talk today a little earlier, and she was saying that if there is a platform for reusable products that can be made available even in the most rural areas. So I'm saying PHC should start stocking. Jan Aushadhi should start stocking. I think if we can do that. I mean, if not at the policy level, I think we need to get together, form, and not look at each other as competitors, but look at each other as collaborators where we have one unified, strong voice against the disposables. I think maybe it's time that we all get together and work towards that. That's something that I would like to propose. Everyone over here who's working towards reusable, come together. Let's not compete. Let's work towards trying to diminish or trying to reduce the use of single use. Yes, Swati ma'am, you wanted to say something.
I just want to say this, like when all of us were young, and if you travel by trains, you would see flowers on the bushes around. And now all you see is plastic bags instead of flowers. And this is exactly what we had a big fight in the ministry in Gujarat, that like, do you want to ruin the rural landscape by introducing sanitary pads? They'll be thrown all over around. Then I said, like, there are gutka packets, exactly the same thing. And they are burnt. They are like kind of, the person sweeps them, brings them together, and burns them all. And what you are sending out in the air? Why object a little, few sanitary pads for that? Because convenience is a girl's need, it is not a luxury.
No, and if you wait for the policymakers, like you said, Lakshmi ma'am, that there is no way forward because there's no lobbying, there's no money, there's no commission, because they don't get orders regularly. When we went to the government first, I wouldn't name the state, but when we said that the cup will last for about 5 to 8 years, they said, put it down to 2 years. We want a repeat purchase. But I said, how can I say it's 5 years? So that is what I think the biggest problem that we are facing. But I think we have a strong voice and maybe we can all come together for that. Anita, my next question is to you. And I strongly believe that women, they're the actual CEOs of the houses, right? And making daily choices shape the next generation's mindset. So I feel if we can catch these youngsters from home and then, of course, education, to say reusable is the way forward. I think it's our generation, the millennials, have really spoiled it. My mother and grandmother had it right, but it's us who have spoiled, by the quick use and throw. So I think it's up to us to now educate the generation, saying that please go back to what our grandmothers did, because what they did was right. So what, according to you, how can a mother play a role in changing the mindset in the family front?
So this was the reason I started Jaipur Mommies. It is a community which is 1,000 mothers strong today and ever growing. The vision behind this was the same what you are talking about. बच्चों को सुनाओगे तो सुनेंगे नहीं. So अगर हम उन्हें कुछ बताएंगे तो मानेंगे नहीं. Children don't listen what we say, teach or preach, but they observe and then absorb those things. So if a mother is segregating waste, carrying her own bottle, using the reusables, so they will see. Then it will be their choice, then when they will become the next generation, they will adopt it or not. So the ground level जहाँ हमने mistake की है, क्यों ना हम उसे वहाँ से सुधारें. So my community and my vision is the same, that we focus on how sustainable we can become. The act again comes to picture, activate the mothers, make them the carrier of the change and transform the community and the whole society.
Brilliantly said, because unless we take these small steps from home, change is far away. And I think one small change that we women can make. Anita, you're doing a fabulous job, and I hope we have Bangalore mommies, Bombay mommies. Please start more cohorts like this in all the cities. We need you to have awareness programs everywhere. Don't stick to Jaipur. Please go back to all the other cities too.
Last year it was not menstruation. Last year it was carry your own bottle. Before that it was to understand how women feel about menstruation and in their PMS and everything. So these little campaigns, if we can run not only on the mother level, maybe a small community or kitty levels.
Yep.
because kitties are there in every cities.
Yep.
So if we can run such small campaigns, it can make an impact.
Yeah, we can't beat the whispers and the carefrees, but we can definitely, start making changes at the grassroots level. And kudos to you, Anita, for doing that.
Here I would like to still make a point that see why the whole sanitary napkin thing, disposable sanitary napkin thing became part of this society is water scarcity. Don't people say that third world war, if it is there, it's going to be over water. So, particularly water scarce states did have a problem. Of course, now that we have started, I believe this making pads from biodegradable material, government should have more stricter laws, better monitoring, and stick to that. Because, see, cloth pad does take away the convenience part to a woman. Why women bend towards the otherwise nowadays there are menstrual cups. We are trying to promote them also because that's a sustainable, very sustainable solution. But still, looking at the hygiene conditions and practices of our people in India or women in India, particularly construction workers and all, looking at all of those, using a pad which is worn outside the body is the safest option, is what I feel. And if biodegradable pads are promoted, they are monitored and supported by the government, even the manufacturing of that is going to, help.
We hear you, Ms. Swati, because though we would all love every woman to switch to reusable, it's not possible immediately. It will happen, the change will come, but until then, what? Until then, we do need solutions like this, where it is disposed of in a responsible manner. Talking about all of this, right? We all believe that reusable should be available, reusable should be promoted, we should talk about it. What about the affordability and the mindset change? You just said that, menstrual cup, some of them still have a taboo of inserting the menstrual cups. So I think one of them, according to me, is, of course, creating awareness. What, according to you, Dr. Lakshmi, the question comes back to you again. I believe that periods don't discriminate, but access, awareness, and affordability still do. Right? So through your copyleft model, you've given access to reusable pads, ensuring that innovation stays people-centric. How do we balance affordability with acceptance and make the mindset change part of the design thinking itself?
So again, I'll take you back to 2000, and the model then was make your own pad. So like Swati-Ben, we were also working with Adivasi girls groups. So in an awareness session, one session was make your own pad, and 2 hours we would sit there and stitch our own pad. So affordability question was answered over there. And then we also said, bring some old clothes from home, and then we will help you to cut cloths from your old petticoats and your old, safas and all that. So that model continues for us, so affordability is still there. We still teach young people to make their own cloth pads. Now, I'm digressing a little bit. Cotton is very difficult to find. So if we ask people to cut from their petticoats, now it's got polyester, 50% is polyester. So it's very easy to say, do these things, but I understand that it's like, it's a mess. If you want to buy a pure cotton chadar, it costs so much now. So affordability is always a factor. And if we can somehow promote, make your own, anything homemade is good. Anything homemade suddenly is not good anymore because bazaar wala stuff is better. A glucose biscuit, 5 rupees glucose biscuit is better than giving a good roti, which is more nutritious. So my thing is, I'm not answering your question directly, but I'm saying, is there some way we can brand homemade? Then the affordability question gets solved automatically. But how do we do that? It's just a big...
So to answer that question, I mean, there is an answer in what you were just saying. A reusable cloth pad that you teach them how to make, if we can create awareness saying that you will save so much of money over a period of time, that itself is affordable. That I'm saying, even if they have to buy an expensive cotton bed sheet, but if they can use that for about 2 years, as against spending 40, 50, 60 rupees every month.
That is the difficult part. That is the
To
difficult
create-
part. Because sustainability has 4 parts. It's Paryavaran, Arthik, Swasth, or Samaj. Okay? So sustainability stands on these 4 pillars. So if you look at a reusable cloth pad, anyone making a reusable cloth pad, it stands on these 4 pillars. It's okay for the environment, okay for the society. It's okay on all the 4 factors. But yet, how difficult it is for people to go back to something that for our grandparents was so easy. So that is the thing. And then if you give me one more minute, a lot of issues are around drying of cloth pads. How will your cloth pad dry easily? Like our Ugair, for example, in the hot seasons of Rajasthan, it can dry in 4 hours. But this has been tested in rainy Karnataka. It takes 1.5 days to dry, sometimes 2 days to dry. So to all the entrepreneurs sitting over here, if you want to get onto a new product, my plea is, can we design something where we can, like a toaster, or a hand dryer, where in the airport you just put your hands there. Can we design something that just goes in like that, and your cloth pad dries in like 45 minutes?
Fabulous. I think that's such
So if somebody is
that is such an innovative idea.
Something which sterilizes plates in the hotels. Something like that.
or some rack, I don't know how. So I am looking at all the entrepreneurs here. If you can do that, I'm happy to give you design interns who can collaborate with you. I mean, this is completely a.
Always make pads which can be opened up in one single file, because
Yeah.
That is what.
that cloth.
See, that is what Ecofem and all of us have been doing that. But that. But Swati Ben, no one likes that. No one likes that thing because it's old-fashioned. Okay. The issue, it just goes back like that, like a circle.
Yes, I think that's a lovely idea, and I think you've given a lot of business owners over here to come up with an idea, and it depends on fastest fingers first. I can see those 2 young boys at the back who developed the app and giggling, saying that for all you know, in the next MHM summit they'll come up saying, here it is. So yes, we do need.
Please remember me then.
There is a need. There is a need. You can innovate the need.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, answer
Yes,
है
Anita.
बोलो. Marketing is needed. Anywhere and everywhere, marketing is needed. We can look for the conscious influencer who are working on DIY and home use products. So maybe we can connect them and talk to them.
Maybe one for home, one for a community level, because you can't expect them to buy a thing for themselves. But we should probably have one at a PHC, at every PHC, where a woman, I don't know how feasible it is for her to walk with a wet cloth and dry it, but it has to be economical if it has to be accessible. I think that's.
So even in an office, if I'm there in the office 10 to 5, it is, how cool will it be if it's in a public toilet? I can just go hang it there.
Yeah.
And then by the time it's 5 p.m., I'm happy to just do that and put it back in my bag. How cool.
Yeah. No, and I think that, a lot of that will come with the generation that the Gen Z or the Gen Alpha, they don't care about taboos. They don't care about, I think they will bring in a change. Lakshmi ma'am, maybe after 10 years, I think we will start seeing this being hung out openly for drying in the sun. And I really hope, because they really don't care. It's us. Honestly speaking, it's us who have created so much of taboo कि अरे नहीं सुखाना नहीं है देखेंगे तो फिर वही somebody said that, Lakshmi ma'am just said that, if the men see, they will go blind. I mean, all this is rubbish. But I have 2 boys, and if I go back and tell them that these are the superstitions, they will say, Ma, please. I don't think anybody will, and nobody believes in that. So there is hope. There is hope that the new generation will break taboos, and they do talk openly. And I completely agree to what was said earlier, saying that don't say MHM or that time of the day or I'm down. I use the word menstruation with my boys, saying I have my periods, my back is paining, so just leave me alone. The more we start normalizing it at home, the more the next generation will be ready to embrace it. That's something that I would like to leave back over here. Anita, your question in terms of the mindset change. What is the biggest misconception about reusables that you have come from moms? What is or acceptability?
Can I have the slide? I have prepared on all
Go
the three
ahead.
parts. One is affordability. People think that reusables are expensive. And here I'm talking about the lower income group and the village people because they don't read and go for the longer run. उनका कितना ज़्यादा जाता है. इसका urban data is below here. This is a recent form which I have taken. उनमें भी confusion है लोगों को that they are not sure if they are expensive or not. While 64 are saying they are not expensive, others are saying yes, they can be. And can you have the next one?
So you've done an awareness saying that why reusables are not expensive because of the number of years. Sure.
Yes, yes. I was just generally asking them the question if they feel, I haven't done anything and didn't ask anything to them, just if they feel by looking at the reusable, do you find them expensive? Yes, they're expensive. It has a lower, greater MRP. Okay. So inclusion, I was talking about that gender inclusivity we talked about, but the misconception is not only the men should be included, the urban females don't want to shift.
Oh, I agree.
They don't want to shift. They don't want to insert anything inside if you're talking about the menstrual cups. They don't want to wash if we talk about the cloth pads. And here is the data. Fear and comfort comes on the top with the 42% there that they don't want to change. Rest are other concerns, but they are on the top. So the misconception that men should be included, it is urban women should be made more inclusive towards and their mind blocks should be removed. Then one more. And general mindset change here, they don't want to come out of their comfort. I've answered it before. I would also like to tell here one story of a woman who is a doctor and using menstrual cups since past 6 years. So can I have the story? Next one. This is the real-time incident. She is a doctor turned fitness expert. What happened with her was she forgot her cup inside. And it was for 24 plus days that it was inside her. In the next cycle, she got to know that the cup was inside. So I searched for many such incidences online and I found that many clinicians had reported such incidences. Where if you are using good quality product, nothing happens to them except more of infection, irritability, and the mild discomfort which they are facing. It's her story. I have just placed the screenshot over there if anybody wants to read on them. My take was, what is genuine? I read about it and I found it was actually genuine and it can happen, but nothing toxic happens to them, as in the case of tampons, where toxic shock syndrome happens if a tampon is there inside for more than 5 to 6 days. How a body reacts, how a good menstrual cup or a menstrual product reacts, everything is different in the case of individuals because every body is different. We menstruators and we working in the field of education learn every day with different experiences, and this was one experience which I wanted to share with you. And I think everybody can see here that this was a very different experience, I think, for India, because the data which I got was not from India.
Sure, I think that's a very, it's a very, very reassuring thing that you said that, she's still safe and she's, there was
It happened in two years back.
Sure.
Sometimes the product doesn't fail. At least we fail for choosing the product, or maybe we fail to pause where we are mindful. Because in our sessions, we always tell people that you should never forget your cup inside. Maybe you have attended some.
Yeah.
It is, हम इसको हमेशा हंसते हुए मजाक में in mockery we used to say कि भूल मत जाना कप अंदर रह जाए, तो you are so comfortable in that. But it happened and it really was eye-opening for me.
Sure, the fact that she's safe and she's absolutely fine and she still continues to use it is proof of validation on the
She
cup.
traveled
Sure.
countries with the cup inside.
Sure. Sure. My next question is, because I was just given a 5-minute notice, is to Swati ma'am. What roles, because you work so closely with school, what roles can schools, corporates and government programs play in creating awareness on the right disposable till we have everybody saying reusables?
Yeah. See, something like this, I think UNICEF, every prominent organization working on menstruation has tried this, have put it in the schools. Schoolgirl gets her pad, sanitary pad, and she disposes it in this. So where is it disposed? It is disposed at source. This way, actually you are doing a service to your nation. You are saving a lot of cost of segregating it, taking it to an electrical incinerator, then burning it, spending on the energy. Here, when it is disposed at source, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go to the animals. It doesn't go to anybody. Rather, you are also doing a service to farmers, because somewhere you are providing a carbon-rich manure into the soil. So it is very important. See, initially when this toilet thing had not started, we again had fought with the government that girls should have a changing room in the school. Yeah. However small it is, they must have it. So later on we started having, because a girl or a woman should be given some kind of facility. If she is wearing a pad, like she said, what do you do when you're working 9 to 5? You have to change. And you can't change a probably cloth pad there. Then you can definitely dispose of your one pad and change into another pad. So this one small thing, which too is a low cost, giving lot of livelihood opportunities to potters, another community. So we have this village interdependency. It goes along with that. From farmers, we get the raw material to make a pad. A pad is used by the women and disposed of in an equipment made by potters. But together, you're saving money of your government.
Lovely.
So
Lovely. Very well said. And I think if you approach NGOs like the Rotary and all of that, because they do give clean water drinking stations, you should also probably look at giving this out to schools.
yeah, that's how we have reached 28 states.
Lovely.
It's with all.
Yes. Yeah, I think we are almost done. I want one takeaway in one sentence from each one of us for the audience. One takeaway.
I will continue with asking everyone to be copyleft, because it's for the greater common good and we are all working together. So just don't be afraid, because the danger about copyleft is that 5-10 years from now, no one will remember who made it first. But that's all right.
When one person transforms, they lit the light for others. So breathe and listen to your body.
See, earlier there was indifference about menstruation in the society. Now there is indifference, particularly among men. But don't let this ignorance and indifference do an injustice which is only towards women. Please don't do that. Thank you.
My last takeaway is collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. Work together, unified voice. Let's reach the same goal. Thank you everyone for being fabulous audience. I wish it could be interactive, but I think we've been asked to stop. Thank you.
Thank you so much for our esteemed panelists for such insightful perspectives. And now I would like to felicitate our panelists. I request Dr. Sam from Ramalya to felicitate Miss Nisha Belair. Can we have a big round of applause, please? Can we have a huge round of applause for Miss Nisha Belair? Now I'll request Mrs. Swati Shamsundar Bedekar on stage, please, for the felicitation. Can we have a huge round of applause for Mrs. Swati? Now I'll request Mrs. Anita Goyal to please come on stage for the felicitation. Can we have a huge round of applause for Mrs. Anita Goyal, please? Next, I would like to request Dr. Lakshmi Murthy to please come on stage for the felicitation. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for your active participation, thoughtful listening, and continued support towards the mission. Now, please carry forward to the main hall for a group photograph.